are watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. From Toronto, Ontario, I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace. If you have children, you might be interested to know about the Adams World Summer Camp. We'll talk to camp organizer Zahirah Eppard. But first, some news headlines. Quebec mosque shooter can be released in 25 years. Muslim teenager slapped during work break. 17-year-old awarded $80,000 scholarship for community leadership. Celebrated Muslim scientist who discovered a new galaxy to visit Dallas. And now the details. Supreme Court judges have ruled unanimously that the gunman who killed 6 people in a Quebec City mosque in 2017 will be eligible for parole after 25 years in jail time. The decision is precedent-setting. The gunman was sentenced in 2019 to 40 years before being eligible for parole. A series of appeals from both the criminal and the Crown has led to this Supreme Court ruling. The judges say a long punishment is, quote, cruel and unusual by nature. They argue it does not give an individual a chance to be rehabilitated. They maintain that a shorter parole period does not mean human life is less valued. 2 teenage sisters in Newfoundland and Labrador say they were called racial slurs before one of them was hit by an unidentified man while on a break at work. Video footage shared with local media shows the man coming up close to Malik Al-Saloom's face and slapping her. She throws her iced coffee at him. Malik says she punched back as he returned to hit her again, and then he left. Malik says the man approached them because they wear hijab. Police have not been able to identify the suspect or lay charges. The Anti-Racism Coalition of Newfoundland and Labrador's chair tells media sources such attacks have increased to every 6 weeks or so. 17-year-old Nabiha Husseini is among this year's recipients of the prestigious Schulich Leadership Scholarship. She was honoured for her work with newcomers in Fort McMurray, Alberta. The 12th grader is the first from her school to receive the $80,000 scholarship. She tells Fort McMurray today that she was in shock after receiving the news. In addition to helping at her local Islamic school, Husseini is a mentor with the Settlement Workers in School program. The Schulich Leadership Scholarships are given to only 100 Canadian high school students annually. The Institute for Medieval and Post-Medieval Studies will host the first Muslim woman and scientist to have a galaxy named after her. Burçin Mutli Paktil will speak about the rare galaxy at the University of Texas at Dallas this weekend. Mutli Paktil helped discover PGC 100714 in 2016. She also will be presenting her current research on dark matter, black holes, and other peculiar ringed galaxies. The discovery of Mutli Paktil's dwarf galaxy raises questions about how the universe works. Mutli Paktil is a postdoctoral fellow with the National Science Foundation and the Kavli Institute for Cosmological Physics at the University of Chicago. And that's it for the news. Summer fast approaches, and parents and Muslim organizations alike are wondering what to do to keep the kids busy and occupied. To join us to talk about what Sound Vision Foundation is up to, Religious Director of Education, Zahirah Eppard. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Walaikum assalam. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. You are a regular on our show, Sound Vision Foundation being the mother organization of our Canadian Muslim News. We are accidentally wearing the same color scarf. It's not a company uniform or anything.
Great minds think alike. How about that?
Let's talk about what you've got planned for the summer.
Well, I love the way you entered the program because definitely parents are scrambling to figure out how to keep their kids busy and productive this summer. And we've got a great lineup. Last year, we ran summer camp programs that were very popular, and we're doing it again. We have 2 separate programs for 2 different age groups. That way, the instruction is geared directly toward the focus of the age group of the children. One is our Adams World Club class. That's for our 4 to 7-year-olds. And the other is our Colors of Islam Club class, which is for 8 to 12-year-olds. And I can give you a lot more details about those.
Let's do that, but let's do it separately so that people don't get confused.
Okay.
Now, you just mentioned Adam's World. When I first converted way back in the 90s, Adam's World was I don't think it was a new show. It had already been going strong. I actually learned about Islam through watching some of those shows, especially after my kids were born. That's like 20 years ago. So Adam's World is still around, is it?
Yes, actually, I learned a lot from those videos myself. My children grew up on them. They've been around actually more than 30 years, Kathy, so time is flying. We are still producing some Adam's World videos with the popular puppets Adams and Anissa. Those are available on our Adam's World app 24/7, so parents can make good use of the instruction that's given, and also having children learn about Islam in a fun environment.
So from the VHS, the cassettes that I used to watch, to the DVD, and now to the app.
Yes, we're making progress, alhamdulillah. I ran into somebody, it's funny, I ran into somebody the other day that talked about the VHS tapes. And they actually mentioned that they kept them and they passed them on to their grandchildren. And they were saying that their 3-year-old was probably one of the few children in the United States that still could operate a VCR. I thought that was kind of funny.
He's probably like, what's this?
Right. Most of us don't have those around anymore, and we don't need to. It's much more easily available on the app and through YouTube videos as well.
You mentioned camp, and I think of a lake and a wood, the woods and a what's it called, a building where people sleep. So is this what you mean by the word camp?
Well, during the pandemic, we've learned that we've had to change the environment of our classrooms a bit. Sound Vision started producing online programming right as the pandemic hit. That was when I came on to the organization, and we've produced more than 450 classes since. What we've learned in that process is there are ways to continuously engage children even within the confines of online programming. Our host teachers are amazingly creative, and they work very hard to create a welcoming environment that keeps kids thirsty for information, but also has them to telling their parents, when is the program starting? Here's another funny story. One of our longtime students, Farha, lives in Trinidad. And during the pandemic, all of the schools were shut down in Trinidad. She joined the program very, very early on and continuously has been a student. Once the kids come on, they love the programming, they love our hosts, and they continue to ask for more. So Farah's family wanted to take a vacation. They wanted to go to the beach on the weekend, but she insisted that she watch the Colors of Islam Club class that she had registered for instead of going to the beach. And so the family had to actually organize their vacation around her being able to participate in the programming. We love that.
What a wonderful story. So you just mentioned the Colors of Islam Club. Tell us a little bit more about that one.
So that program is geared for children 8 to 12 years old, and it takes place once a week on Saturday. It starts at 12 noon and goes for an hour and a half, 90 minutes to 1:30. That's Eastern Daylight Time. One of the challenges of online programming is finding a time that works for everyone, and that's just really impossible. But we found that this time slot actually works best for kids that are generally public school students. We have students from all across the US, all across Canada. We have a couple that come in from the UK, and Farha comes in from Trinidad. And during that programming, we have 2 hosts. They're amazing role models for students. One is the popular comedian Baba Ali, and the other is Sister Huda, who is actually a dietitian and nutritionist by trade, but another person that loves Islam and loves to teach about it.
So you mentioned people tuning in from all over the world, mashallah. And then it's a live class, then it's not something recorded that they access later on?
Right. The Colors of Islam Club is completely live. We, in the summer, have the Adam's World Club, the classes for younger children, partially recorded and with live segments. So we found that a balance works best for that age group. Remember, the summer is a time when families are all over the place. Their schedules are up and down. Many kids are going to in-person camps now, too. So we want to make sure that these are programs that can supplement whatever else is going on in the family. They happen in the comfort of your own home, but if you have some flexibility in when you can watch the programming, we think that works very well for especially parents of young children.
Talk a little bit about the strategies for engagement. I'll tell you a story that's maybe not a great story, but my kids, we used to try to get them to learn Quran recitation on an online program with a private tutor, but the kids would either switch the tab and play games, or they would just like run away and not sit in front of this laptop. So you mentioned that it's successful. Talk a little bit about how they're keeping the kids sitting in front of the screen.
So we think that there are two components that really work for that. One is making sure that the children believe that the hosts actually care for them. I used to be a principal of a very large weekend school program, and we used to say to the teachers that kids will only listen to the content and only care about the content you deliver if they believe you care about them. So we do lots of different things. We use lots of creative methodologies, storytelling, we use puppets, we use songs, we have art projects, cooking projects, lots of different things that really keep them very attentive to the screen. We also open their mics to allow them to speak for themselves. We have lots of discussions in our older group, the Colors of Islam Club, because many of those kids come in with good knowledge. What they don't have is they don't have an inspiration of putting that knowledge into practice. And good, thorough discussions, lively discussions, which allow them to ask questions are really the key to keeping them engaged. And they'll do it on their own.
So you're talking about, you said open the mic, so letting them actually speak. So it's not a passive TV style show.
Yes, definitely. Now, when we have recorded classes, we can't do that. And so when those classes are recorded, we still use those engaging methodologies, the stories, the songs. We've had our parents write to us and tell us that they're marveling at how much their children are learning, because it doesn't feel like it's a teaching environment. It's a very entertaining way of passing information to young people, but it has to also make sense. One of the segments that we're working on for the youngest group is called Knowing Allah Through His Creation. We focus on animals. Kids love animals. But if you look carefully at the instincts and characteristics that animals have, and believe that Allah has given them those for very specific reasons, then you can learn a lot about the Creator when you're studying about the creation, and kids just love that.
Well, we're really glad to hear it. As we wrap up, if somebody's interested in learning more, where will they go to find out?
We have a wonderful website that's full of detailed information, and that is academy.adamsworld.org.
academy.adamsworld.org. Thank you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Canadian Muslim News. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe. Stay safe and God bless.